Welcome, everybody. It's another exciting edition of the Sports Hole. I'm your host, Luke. With me, as always, XFL Jim, Rock and Roll Matty Goldberg.
What's up?
What's going on, gents?
What's up, boys?
Yes.
Slowest sports time of the year. It's lovely.
It's the slow sports time.
Last year, I had actual XFL games to talk about.
I know.
I got an update on my phone. Literally this time last year, I just gotten back from Vegas, going to my Vegas Vipers game at Cashman Field.
So the XFL had already started by now.
Yeah.
So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, in 2020 and last year in 2023, the XFL decided to do like the weekend after the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right. Weren't they like advertising during it?
Yeah,
like
especially in 2020, they were going hard for it. It's like, football's not over yet. And literally that Saturday, they started up.
It did certainly help last year get through some of the February blues of,
You're waiting for the NCAA tournament.
We're waiting for the NCAA double tournament. It's a sad time. Sorry, it is. But, spring league football is coming.
It's coming.
March Madness, Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA playoffs. So the spring will be okay. But I love football. I'll give me week 3. Give me September, a full Saturday, a full Sunday.
Right in the heat of it.
Preseason game?
Give me right after college plays their bullshit warm-up games and they start really playing like real games.
Week 4 is when it really starts to heat up.
Well, give me fucking TCU, Colorado, that energy. That energy of neon.
You're not head deep into spring training for baseball right now, man?
No, I can't say I am. I mean, all you hear is like Ohtani hits a home run. I get these little updates.
First home run as a Dodger.
Yeah, and you're like,
but how stupid is that?
It doesn't count. It shouldn't count.
February. Yeah. I mean, it's just it just shows you how desperate they are for news too.
Oh yeah, they're desperate.
I do have something I wanted to ask you guys. So since we are on the topic of March Madness and the NCAA tournament, if someone wins a playing game, do you consider that winning a tournament game?
No.
Yeah.
I do not.
I do.
I'm with Luke. I do not.
Yeah.
I disagree. I do.
I do not.
I disagree. All right, let me ask you a question. If you're a 16 seed, half the 16 seeds play a playing game, the other half just play the number 1 seed. Would you rather play another 16 seed and have a chance to actually win a game, or just play a 16 seed?
Obviously, I'd play because who do they usually end up playing in the actual round?
A 16.
Play the first seed.
Another 16 seed.
No, in the actual round, it would be
in the actual round. It would still just be a first seed.
Yeah, number 1.
So then I'd rather just play a 1 seed and have a shot just to be in the tournament already.
Yeah, then you've made it to the tournament.
I'd rather play a 16 seed and you get a chance to actually win a game.
I don't know. What is that?
There's maybe if you could build momentum. Maybe there's that.
I think the team
you're going to play a 16 seed and build momentum to play like Duke.
The team that well, they won last year. The team won a playing game and then they beat Purdue.
Well,
so
maybe
it did work. I like the idea that you can say, "Hey, we won a tournament."
It's not a tournament game. It's not a tournament game. It is not a tournament game. It's a play. Maddie, you're calling it a playing game.
I will die on this.
Jim, are you reading like something official that declares it not a?
No, there's nothing. There's nothing that declares it official or not. But I declare it not official.
Okay,
it's not, and I love the play-in. I love the games. I love the. They're not.
It counts as a
games.
win, though. It does count as a win.
Yeah, and that's disgusting. That's stupid.
So I'm right.
No, it's stupid.
I'm right.
Yeah, if you want to be a pussy about it, Maddie.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. Maddie,
people
for the
who
consolation
claim
prize.
Yeah. Out of all the people in this world, Maddie, I didn't think you'd be going for the consolation prize.
Well, I got soft.
Disgusting.
Maddie, you usually are an animal.
I'm soft in my older years.
I'm disgusted.
Look, there's a lot of teams that have gone in the playoff game. I remember VCU, the first Shaka Smart year they were playing. They made it to the Final Four.
Didn't UCLA go crazy one year too?
I think they made it one year as a playing. Yeah, they
made it all the way to the Elite Eight or something.
Yeah, or the Final Four. I think the year they beat Michigan in the Final Eight, which Luke and I watched that game together.
Oh yes,
remember that one? And now Michigan's the worst team in college basketball.
Yes, God, fuck.
Hey, they still beat Michigan State.
Well, that's all that matters.
Yeah. It's like going 1-11 and beating Ohio State.
Right.
That would still
I can still remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of disagree, but I mean, I'm just being a little silly. I'm not dying.
This is going on your permanent record, Maddie, for
but maybe
opinions.
I'm getting soft in my old age. Maybe
a little softy.
Maybe.
I'm sure your buddy Uncle Rico and the guy that hates me in Arkansas isn't gonna like that.
I bet Chase would think he might call him.
Even though I told my friend's kid to go to Arkansas because of him.
Jim, how much Domino's do you have behind you?
I've kind of slacked on I've kind of let my place get real slobbish. If I get out of the way, if I leave the camera up, it's a lot.
What do you got there?
Boy,
you got those.
Tell me that's all for you. Tell me you're not sharing one thing of that.
Yeah, it's all Luke. No one else lives here.
The one thing I like for Domino's, do you have the icing?
It's all mine.
The dessert, it's like a cinnamon.
The chocolate ones or the cinnamon ones?
I like the cinnamon.
Yeah,
better.
there's like 5 or 6 boxes for those listening online.
Yeah, there's I can actually count them. So I got a pizza box, chicken, the bread bites, sandwiches, and more chicken. So I got 7 boxes here.
You set up a whole buffet.
Well, this is for multiple
Domino's.
days. Multiple days.
You should actually get like a buffet.
This is actually from 2 orders. This is from 2 orders back healthy. Here. Yeah, Maddie, 100%.
Get like a buffet bar so you can like lay it out and then go through and.
Is there a place near you that's like that pizza place that like we're real pizza, or do you have?
It's called New York Pizza, and the thing is, it used to be a local diner.
Yeah.
And these people took over, and the only way they were able to take over is they also had to keep the entire diner menu.
Mm-hmm.
So they have it's a whole Italian menu, pizza. They've got wings, they've got all that, and then also they'll have like hot roast beef. They have a full breakfast menu from the diner. They've got like steak.
Oh my Lord!
It's an entire diner menu plus like a pizza place, and their cannolis are pretty good.
Okay, how's the rest of their food?
It's actually one of the best restaurants in the town.
Why did they have to keep that rest of that menu?
Because the person that like sold it to him gave him a big discount on it, and they're trying to it was a popular-ish local diner, but the person that sold it was getting on in years.
And what's the town you live in?
Grand Island, Nebraska, baby.
How far is that from
Lincoln, Nebraska?
It's the spot.
How far is that from Lincoln?
Hour 45. 2 hours roughly.
You could jump over there. That's how far I am from Los Angeles, the big.
What about Omaha?
Omaha, I'm like 2.5. Like Omaha's like deceptively far. Omaha's like
you're
an hour
in the middle.
away from
You're
Lincoln.
in between.
Yeah, Grand Island is like very much center of the state. It's where the state fair is.
Oh wow, that's where all the Nebraskans come together.
It's where all the D-gens come because this is like the number one. This is like the only horse racing track in the state.
Was Scott Frost ever the Grand Marshal of the?
His town, the town he grew up in, is like 20 minutes away.
What's the track there?
Fauner Park, baby.
I don't think I've ever bet. Like, I used to be such a degenerate. I was part of this OTB website that would just go from one track to the next. And you're just picking numbers because you're such a degen.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think I ever did Fauner Park.
The only time Fauner Park got big, and I only know this because I've actually, with Chase, him being as big of a horse racer as he is, I've talked with enough horse racing people. They know about Fauner Park because it was like the only track in the country running during COVID.
Love it. They said, fuck it.
Did they make the horses wear masks?
That would have been funny.
But there's money to be made for sure. So
I think they like shut down so that you couldn't go in and watch, but they still ran the races.
I'm sure
that works.
There's still money to be made.
Yeah, I love going. I don't know shit about horse racing, but I love going to the track.
The environment is so. I just went to one this Saturday. The environment of a horse racing track, especially like I don't know about other ones. Fauner Park is a little bit run down and like very degenerate. It's like old crackly standard definition TVs everywhere showing the races.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, the only thing that can make it better is if you could smoke in there. That's the only that would make it better.
Well, Maddie, we can go back to that one because the train lets off right in that town.
I know. Or you come up for
Santa Anita. Yeah, I'd love to go to Santa Anita.
Santa Anita is great. I've been there one time.
Yeah.
Jim, I might be in Vegas in Memorial Day if we all can meet up there. I mean,
Ooh.
we probably should do this off air, but that's
Jim
if you can
can't do
get out
shit.
there.
He
I know you're now a married man, but
Not yet, Maddie.
okay.
That's actually who took me out to the horse. That was a blast. Fauna Park. If you're ever for any reason going through Grand Island, from mid-February till May, hit up Fauna Park.
fuck yeah, Foner Park, bitch.
Bonner Park, free advertising.
If you get there at the end, they do ostrich races.
Jim, will you approach them to see if they'll sponsor us? Wait,
I'll go in and
ostriches?
ask. Yeah, so once a year they do the ostrich races where they get people on
yeah.
they put people on ostriches and run them.
Like children or
track.
midgets?
Like the jockeys aren't that heavy, so they just get the jockeys on them.
Oh, this is amazing.
That's disgusting.
You think it hurts the animal?
That's discrimination against the jockeys.
What
I
do you
sue
mean?
if I was a jockey. Come on, they're athletes. They're not fools.
Yeah,
They're
it's
not
like
clowns.
They kind of are.
No, they're not. They're athletes.
Nah, they're kind of clowns.
Well, speaking of athletes, the biggest sports story this week was Cam Newton in a fight
Yeah.
at a
God,
park.
he looked good.
What was going on there, Jim? What was the event? What was happening?
Well, this is Cam's 7-on-7 thing. I think there was something last year that came out about it that people were just like dogging him at the
so
camp.
what is he? What is it like? He's running a camp. It sounds
He's
good,
not
like he's
very
giving
liked.
back.
Yeah, he's doing a
right?
7-on-7 camp.
Yeah,
He's like trying. Yeah,
How cool
Even
would
when he
that be?
tries to do good, he's not very liked.
but
His
like
life is very confusing.
I think people just trying to hate on him, and like I think people were trying to dog him last year.
Yeah, I
at his
remember
own camp.
people shit talking him like
Yeah.
at his own camp.
Little
Yeah.
kids, right? Remember little
Yeah,
kids are
It's
like
like
saying
middle
stuff?
schoolers.
Yeah. And then he
So,
learned, and then he started attacking Brock Purdy.
and then now these guys just tried to attack him, and I don't know what would possess you not to just attack like a professional athlete or an NFL player, but someone like Cam Newton who's just that size and has shown what he's done, even at his current level. An average person is getting dog walked by Cam
He's
Newton.
only got to be
Yes.
what, like 36, 35?
How old do you think Cam Newton is?
35.
Cam Newton is 34.
Wow,
He's still a
God.
young man. I worry about
Yeah.
him because his identity is so fueled in football, and his life is so dependent on football, probably from age 3. When you can't do it anymore and you can't do it at a high level, there's got to be a lot of depression and a lot of toughness. And I feel like
Oh, it was coaches that were fighting him.
Oh, really?
So
I
weird.
thought it looked like kids.
No, it was coaches. No, this one was adults.
Oh,
that's so bizarre.
wow. It was amazing too. He was like wearing this black hat with the top to it where his dreads went through, and it looked like a witch's hat. So it's like you got Cam Newton fighting in a witch's hat.
Well, he
I mean,
did hold his own.
that is Cam Newton.
Yeah.
He certainly held his own.
3v1, they
did.
didn't even knock his hat off.
No, not at all. He stood there and threw people off of him. Fucker's a G. Good for Cam Newton. Best thing he's done in a while.
Well, he's going to get some good deeds back from the whole Brock Purdy thing. Because I was like, come on, man. Like, you just, what are you doing attacking Brock Purdy?
Yeah,
Brock
but that's
Purdy
the only
did
way
nothing to you.
these guys stay relevant is making bullshit statements. And
True.
then you're like, oh, then it's like, check out my podcast.
Yeah.
But, he might have a chance to maybe get back in the NFL. And
No way.
I'd love to see him in the UFL.
He should play. Like, what else are you gonna do? Like, you love playing football, play football. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, a good season. If you had a good season there, you'd definitely get called up. You know.
Oh yeah.
But the fact if you go to a team now, you're gonna have a hard time making the cut.
Well, it's also like you got this whole thing where you're trashing other players, and then
Yeah.
people don't see you as a loyal guy. So it's like, if you're gonna trash a guy that you barely even know for the sake of trashing him, how do we trust you? And
Do you think he's still trying to get back in the league?
of course, he said last year he was like a top 15 or top 10 quarterback.
Oh, good. How long did he last last year?
He didn't play last year.
Oh wait, when
He had
was
a
he on the
miserable year.
Patriots?
2020.
That was the last year, right?
Yeah, and no,
Yeah.
he came back in 2021 where he did the whole I'm back. He went back to the Panthers, and then he had one good game, and then he fell
Yeah.
apart.
I remember that game
right,
was
okay.
magical though. That game was sick.
And he yelled, "I'm back!" And then he was back. He was back to be back. I mean, he had one incredible season. He had a terrible Super Bowl, and then he had a solid career, but maybe not a great career for a number one pick overall, but a solid career.
I'd say a good career.
Well, it's hard when you're the number one overall pick because there's so much.
How many number one overall picks have been had amazing careers?
All right. Has he had a better career than Jared Goff? I'm going to say no.
No. I would say no.
Has he had a better career than Trevor Lawrence? I'm going to say yes.
Yes.
So far. A better career than Mitch Trubisky? I'm going to say yes, even though he was drafted second. Andrew Luck? I'm going to say no.
I would say yes.
I would disagree.
For full career?
If he didn't retire,
everyone will say it.
Fine,
I think Andrew Luck would have been better. I think Andrew Luck.
I'd be curious to see those stats compared because Andrew Luck was pretty awesome when he was.
Andrew Luck was pretty awesome. He just.
I agree with you guys.
Yeah, I mean Andrew Luck never got to Super Bowl, but a lot of playoff wins, a lot of really big. He carried a very bad team.
Yeah,
the Colts were not very good when he came there, and he turned them around really fast. He had a good career though. I can't knock him. Does he have a better career than Baker Mayfield? Yes.
Yes.
Right now, Baker's got a few years. I think Baker's
got a few years.
Baker's
but right now he had a better career.
Yes.
Anybody else I'm missing?
What about Vince Young?
Yes. I don't think Vince was number one pick overall though.
No, but I'm just to me they kind of are a very similar vibe.
Yeah.
To me, like these quarterbacks who are just big and strong.
Plays like Cam is Josh Allen. Josh Allen plays very much like Cam. A little more of an accurate passer.
Sam Bradford.
Much better.
The legend.
Yeah, that was a bad.
Alex Smith?
Yes.
No, I think Alex Smith had some good years though.
I would still say I'd say Cam over him. Carson Palmer.
How much are you weighing the Super Bowl though?
A big time.
Okay.
It's a big weight.
Matt Stafford, no.
No.
Going through other quarterbacks here. David Carr.
Oh, by far.
And I'd say the last 2001 Michael Vick, no.
No. But it's hard. You can't, Trevor Lawrence is the last he's the sure thing number one pick. And he's had his moments, but last year was a huge kind of letdown. He's not as good as Joe Burrow.
I'd agree with that.
I think already Joe Burrow's past him.
Well, yeah, I assuming health, a lot of these guys, though, you picture playing to at least 36 when this guy was out of the league at 33.
Yeah.
So
the way he played too, he played a very physical style, which the hits weren't going to let him play that long. He was basically a fullback. I mean, the year he was MVP, he was so impressive because every 3rd and 3, every 3rd and 4, he was taking the ball and just running it his hardest. And those are massive hits that a quarterback shouldn't take, but he was getting those first downs. He was carrying his team. No doubt about it.
Sure. No, that's
not a Hall of Famer.
No, I don't think so. Panthers Hall of Famer, probably.
Yeah. Who else is in their Hall of Fame? Steve Smith, Jack Del
Rio.
Julius Peppers, probably.
Julius Peppers.
Kuechly.
Kuechly, yeah. We said Steve Smith, Muhammad.
Reggie White, didn't he play?
Do you think they'd put McCaffrey there?
No. He only played 3 or 4 years there.
He played a while there.
I think it was
4 years, 5 years. Is
that it?
Yeah.
Did he Did he lead the league in rushing when he was there?
I'm not sure. He was hurt a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing. He was hurt all the time. So
I mean, he was on the Panthers for 5 years.
Yeah, I said 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I thought you said 3. My bad. Yeah,
that's not that long.
I mean, that's a good chunk where if you play well, you could easily make a ring, a ring of fame or whatever the fuck they call it over there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Newton. You think he boxes Jake Paul next?
That would be sick. I think he's like one of the non-back boxers to actually have a chance just because of his size advantage.
Oh yeah.
He could be a good wrestler.
Yeah, he can.
He'd throw a hell of a promo, I bet.
Yeah. He could also join the Dabbleverse.
Oh God.
That's an inside joke. I don't expect anybody to know that.
Well, he thrives
Jim,
on
one day, can you do me a favor? Show your girlfriend a Stuttering John live stream and tell me what she says when she.
What does he stream on?
YouTube.
Okay.
He was just streaming a little while. I turned it off for you guys.
Man, if you talk about Stuttering John too much, you're gonna back yourself into the Dabbleverse.
He was on fire, man.
What trying to do. Okay.
Well, it's a slow year.
Other sort of news, non-news is looks like Justin Fields is gonna be traded. That seems to be the thing.
Go with the potential.
Go with the potential, reset the contract for the quarterback so you don't have to pay out. You could probably, what do you think you get for Justin Fields?
Not a lot. A 3 and a 5.
I don't know. Quarterbacks are crazy.
I mean, they're comparing it to like Sam Darnold, who, returned a 2 and a 4 pick, I think, second round and fourth round pick.
That is crazy because he wasn't worth shit. He wasn't worth a bag of footballs.
I mean, I feel like you could get like a second rounder for him. For Fields.
Yeah.
Just because the thing that people can always buy themselves into is he's shown flashes of being like a pretty darn good quarterback.
Well, if you've had all this time to like start though, and like you've shown everything you have, I feel at this point. If you can't read a defense or you can't make quick decisions, I don't know how much that improves if you're looking at that. If you want to draft him trade for him just as a backup QB solely, then sure. But I don't know about giving up much to get him.
Bears they're scared because they know like if Caleb Williams is the real deal, they kind of know what they have with Justin Fields. But if you pass up a guy that could be the real deal when you've been looking for a quarterback for 30 years, you fuck up big time. And they just can't take that chance.
You know what? You want to know what my take is, Maddie?
What's that?
Is that Caleb Williams will be decent, but the real guy is Drake May. I'm big on Drake May.
I don't buy it. I don't like him at all, man.
I'm all in on Drake May.
I think he's got the arm. He's got the body. I don't know if he's got the brains. I mean, he had so many weapons in North Carolina, and they just fell apart.
That defense was trash, too, though.
Look, everybody loves him, but I don't know. And it's weird. Like, he could be the number 1 pick. I mean, I think it will be Caleb at the end, but you never know.
It's going to be him. They've been waiting for him for like 3 years now, ever since his first year at USC. They've been waiting for this dude.
Caleb does have like some magical quality that you just kind of.
I mean, his ceiling's like Mahomes, but I could also easily seeing him as being a better Johnny Manziel.
I'll be better than Manziel.
Like the best version of Manziel.
Manziel without all the copious cocaine use.
Right. Yes. It's just one of those things where so much of his great plays were sort of based on broken plays that were like, I don't know, that maybe other faster NFL players will not allow to happen so much.
Where would you guys want to see Justin Fields go?
Hell.
There's like Patriots.
I'd like to see him on the Falcons.
The Patriots would be interesting. The Falcons would be interesting.
Why Falcons?
They need a quarterback.
They do need a quarterback, but I feel like he's
Were they slated to draft this year?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, they already kind of got rid of Desmond Ridder. I heard they threw him under the bus.
They definitely did.
Yeah. So he's not the guy. So Justin Fields has the potential.
They are.
And then there's Kirk Cousins is hitting out. I mean, I don't know if the Vikings are going to take Kirk Cousins. Maybe Justin Fields goes to the Vikings, which would be weird because that would be crazy because then the Bears would have to deal with him if he was in the division. Holy fuck. But he's going to have tons of weapons. I mean, the Vikings arguably have the best wide receiver crew in the game. I think Addison's only going to get better. And Jefferson. And they have another good receiver. What's his face? Osborne is pretty good. So they have
slotted for
solid
8th,
receivers.
Luke. 8th.
Okay. You could still get a good QB at there.
They could get like they still have a shot. I mean, Drake May might fall. I doubt it. I think he goes to the Patriots, but they could get like Jaden Daniels if they wanted him.
That's another guy everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm in love with him, but
well, I'm just saying, don't.
Yeah.
I would look at, if you're going after Fields, look at him as a backup QB. Don't give, too much away for him.
Yeah.
And don't expect him to be starting. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I think he could, if he works, maybe you get better, but
get him to the UFL.
Yeah.
Get
on over there.
I'm going to say that to any quarterback that's like kind of struggling. Get him to the UFL.
Got to earn your stripes over there. That's what you do. Get back in the game. Back in the game. Oh, we'll see. I don't know. So, Maddie, why aren't you sold on Drake May? You just don't think he's got it?
Watching a bunch of the games, I mean, like, he's got the tools, but there's something that I just feel like his process, I don't know. He never just was like, this is the guy. You know? I mean, there's guys that I saw in college, like I go back to watching Drew Brees, and I felt like Drew Brees had, obviously doesn't have the physical tools that Drake May had, but you can just tell who's going to be somebody special the next kind of, well, you can't really tell, but I just don't, I don't know. I'm not a believer in Drake May, but I could be wrong. He could be the greatest quarterback of all time. You never know.
Yeah.
It's a science that you can't figure out. You just can't.
That's fair. It's true.
So, but I think what the Bears' logic is like, look, we've been so wrong on quarterbacks for 30 years. We have an opportunity to get the number one quarterback who looked awesome, not this year, but the 2 years before. If he is that dude and we pass on him, we're again the fucking idiots. And we can't have that happen again.
Yeah, last time they had this opportunity, they took Trubisky.
Exactly. When you have fucking
that came out of nowhere too. That was what was so stupid about that.
He jumped up so fast out of nowhere.
But
everybody was like
people
Trubisky
giving into dumb hype. And it's like,
know.
you're a professional. You shouldn't be listening to fucking people who need to fill up airtime,
Well, he became the hot guy out of nowhere, and obviously he's horrible. Like, watching him play for Pittsburgh this season, I don't even know if he plays in the NFL this year. I mean, somebody will call him and he'll probably have a backup job, but
yeah, probably sometime mid-season when everybody else is hurt.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
like, I don't even know how you want to play football anymore when you're on to your fourth team and you just got cut.
Well, if you can make it as a backup QB, that's a damn fine living.
That's a great living. That's a great job.
The Steelers might need a quarterback too. I don't think they believe in Pickett. I think they're done with Pickett.
Yeah, they are. They're talking about that, like him as being one of the destinations for Fields.
Yeah,
too.
they were talking about that. Yeah.
So it sounds like Atlanta and Pittsburgh, as far as people who are like really interested in him, but we'll see.
Both teams are just like Atlanta, especially, just seems like they're a quarterback away. They have so many good pieces.
They really do, and their defense is better than most people think. And I think B.J. Robinson is going to be better. Drake London is a force. Kyle Pitts, you haven't seen his potential because you haven't had a good quarterback to get on the ball yet.
How long? So, what's he going on in, like, his third year in the league?
I believe this is his third year.
Yeah, God, we need a breakout season already.
He really does. I mean, he was supposed to be the next great thing, and we don't really know because he hasn't really had that quarterback. But they do have a lot of weapons for sure.
Yeah, we're going into year 4. Wait, no, that can't be right.
Right? We're year 4.
2021 to present.
Yeah.
Damn, he's only 23.
All right.
That feels weird, right?
It does feel weird, but I can definitely see it.
I guess he went to the NFL at 20, which makes sense after the third year of college. That's wild. So Drake London's my dude, though.
44 games so far. But yeah, like last year, Kyle Pitts only got like
nothing. He got nothing.
Yards. Yeah. like 3 TDs, like fucking A. That is despicable.
Not living up to the hype.
Well, who knows? I mean, I don't watch a lot of Atlanta games, so I don't know how much the quarterback's trying to get it to him, and if he's able to get it to him.
They just couldn't really move the ball with a quarterback. Like I watched a bunch of their games, and it was like they ran the ball a lot. They had a lot of cool reverses. But as far as like, having Drake London on one of my fantasy teams, it's frustrating because he's a definite A receiver that you look at his numbers, like 3 catches, 15 yards. It's like, get these guys the ball.
Yeah.
They have weapons.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. I found some other so Eric Bieniemy is now the offensive coordinator at UCLA. So he's just going down.
Yeah.
He just keeps going down. I love just following this guy's story for some reason. I don't know why.
And he's probably not going to have a good season there.
Right. You're going to get a trash team that's like pretty much why Chip Kelly just bailed. This is a team that Chip Kelly just said, I would rather be an assistant coach than head coach this fucking team, which is not a good sign.
Well, maybe you put no money in their team,
That's a problem though. But if you in the NIL area, you need to do that. So, if you're trying to make it as a coach, go find a more serious school to do it at.
Yeah, but I don't think there was anybody call Eric Bieniemy's name.
He should have called them.
So he took the best job he could probably get.
Yeah. I don't know.
Sad.
Sometimes you might even be better off sitting out a year than because if this is a dumpster fire for him, it just gets worse.
Well, if you love to coach, you love to coach, and if you want to work, you want to work. So
I guess
it's a tough spot, but he probably took the best position he could get. It sucks how he's fallen, but it's a tough business. We're in a tough business.
Over under, he's somewhere else next year.
Definitely he'll be somewhere else.
I'm going to say he's not.
He's not.
I'm going to say he's with UCLA still.
I mean, it's going to be tough. They're going to be in the Big Ten, and they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. I don't know their full schedule, but it can't be pretty.
Especially, it just seems like they're like, the football program is not that important.
And like the Big Ten just grabbed like the best from the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Over there. So it's not like you're going to rack up these wins against the Colorados.
5.5 wins is their total. Projected
That's
total.
Pretty bad.
Ooh.
Their win total is 5.5.
That's not good.
I might go to a game this year because I'm sure it'll be empty. I've never been to the Rose Bowl. I know it's not the same as like a packed Rose Bowl for a bowl game, but it would be fun just to go to just feel the atmosphere of the Rose Bowl.
Oh yeah.
See, I went to the Rose Bowl. I
will say majority of the Big Ten teams is between like the 6.5 to 4.5 range. It's that conference being stupid.
Right. Exactly.
How about baseball? What's going on with baseball?
Oh, Manny, why don't you tell us? You're the only one who watches it.
I have no idea. I know Ohtani hit a home run. And I know the A's, like, we don't know what's going on with the A's. That's the other story.
Well, that field's being built.
So
they're tearing down the Tropicana to build that field in
How
Vegas.
about the see-through uniforms, boys?
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that, Jim.
Fanatics did all the uniforms for the MLB, and now they're all like see-through and shit. You can see their dicks and balls and everything, just with the weird bulges. And some people were complaining about it. And Darren Ravel was like, "It's crazy. They had these for picture day however long ago, and he had to go through like 4 photos of the Reds having their dicks showing."
That's amazing.
You know what? The MLB really fucking needed like Taylor Swift to go out with a baseball player. Like, that's a sport that could have really helped. Like, it would have saved baseball.
Who would she date in baseball?
Trout, Trevor Bauer. That'd be awesome if she dated Trevor Bauer.
Can you imagine the song?
Yeah.
Doing concerts with black eyes.
It's called Rough Sex.
Yeah.
Rough Sex.
I found a new thing. Yeah.
He choked me during sex.
Oh, I bet she don't let you choke her the same as me.
Oh, he would do a song too.
Rough Sex. You think Trevor Bauer would do a song?
I bet he would.
How would it go, Jim?
Basically the same the way you just said it.
Yeah.
It's just from his point of view. It's like, I'm gonna give you the rough choking sex that you deserve.
Sounds like Bruce Springsteen.
That bitch tight end couldn't do nothing.
Bauer's a big fan of the boss. Big influence on his singing. Nah, I like that. I can see that. I think Taylor Swift should date John Kruk.
The age is a little the age disparity. I mean, he's got to be 60 now.
Who
Nothing wrong
cares?
with that.
Fat and 60.
She's a grown woman now.
Hey man, every man is
Wouldn't that be
everybody
funny
is
if
someone's
she was-
fetish.
Wouldn't that be funny if she was dating somebody like that? Like just like where it was just like, what is she? Who? John Kruk? No. Yes, I swear to God, she's dating John Kruk.
Well, like Brittany Murphy married that one dude that was big.
Yeah, I saw that documentary. That was intense.
Everybody got killed somehow.
I know.
No one still really knows.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that story, and I started watching that documentary, and you're just like, it was just odd because not like usually some guys that are ugly, if they're really talented or they're really nice, sometimes they'll get the girl out of their league, but he wasn't nice or talented.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive. He overcame that to land Brittany Murphy and kill her in a weird way, and then kill himself in a weird way. Maddie, you've been watching that Patriots documentary, right? This 10-parter?
I've been enjoying it. I mean, it's not amazing.
What's it on?
It's crazy that it's 10 parts.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted to cover for the show, but I'm like, that's just too much.
I didn't want to cover every episode, but it's
every one.
It's a little better than a fluff piece, but it's still kind of a fluff piece. And it sucks because I had a vision of how a documentary about the Patriots would go, and there's a lot of things they've left out. But there's a lot of cool things I've learned. So.
What did they leave out, Maddie?
I think how bad football was in Boston, that like most people that lived in Boston were Giants fans or Cowboys fans. Like nobody were Patriot fans. It wasn't until Bill Parcells came that people actually liked the Patriots. So they were not this like important part of Boston. And Boston is a very amazing sports city. It's just that the Patriots never seemed like they fit in. They played at 40 minutes outside of Boston. They always sucked. They never won.
Also, when they were good, there was the guy wore a dorky neck brace. The quarterback, Steve Grogan.
Yeah, Steve Grogan. Yeah. The other thing about
like, what is that?
The other thing is they do a great job. Like the first episode is great because it's a lot about Bledsoe, and Bledsoe's story is just as interesting as Brady, because you really get a sense of what it's like to be the man and then lose it all, to a guy that like you never saw coming, you never thought would be a threat, and it's your team and you're the fucking guy, and then some other kid comes in there and just takes it away, and the whole city kind of like rallies around it. Well, they actually rallied around Bledsoe too. They really, like, up until even past the Super Bowl, they wanted to get rid of Brady. But most fans wanted to keep Bledsoe. And it really gets into his psyche. But then it just like, they just dropped the whole Bledsoe thing. They don't go into that he was traded, how he was traded, like.
They didn't like follow up with his career after that. Where did he end up going? He went to
Buffalo. Buffalo and then Dallas.
Where?
And they don't even go into the second year where the Patriots went 8-8 in 2002. They just kind of go into the first championship, then the dynasty of the first 3 years, and then they kind of go into the 2007 year with Spygate. And that gets interesting because when they interview like Ernie Adams and Belichick, they start to stutter. Like you can just tell that they're stuttering. And Brady talks about everything, but there's no quote about Spygate with Brady. So it's like almost like where he's like, I'm not going to talk about it. And it's like, well, you gotta.
Well, what did they say? Did they admit to it? Did they like?
They kind of do.
Okay.
They kind of do. And then they kind of throw like Mangini under the bus because he was a Patriot coach and how he betrayed. And the guy, Ernie Adams, just starts stuttering. And he's like, and then he's like, I'll take my secrets to the grave. And he comes off as like, he's an interesting guy because he comes off as like this weird mad genius
Hmm.
that's in the era of Belichick, and he's trying to take a little too much credit though, because he's like, it was my idea to keep, to play Brady over Bledsoe, and to go for it in overtime in the first Super Bowl. So
yeah,
I don't know.
wow. Okay. Well, that's weird. I would have liked to get some. How long was that going on for? Was that going on for since the beginning of the Belichick era, or was?
The Spygate.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know.
Probably. I'm gonna say yes.
I mean, there's also stuff that they taped the Rams practice before the Super Bowl, and they unequivocally say that's absolutely not true, and they claim they sued the newspaper over that. So that they absolutely deny. They don't deny the cheating.
Okay. They just deny when the cheating happened.
So that's where I am now. I just finished where they lost the Super Bowl 2007.
So, and you're saying Brady was being cucked by Giselle's jiu-jitsu instructor for years?
I mean, that sounds like it, but he's gonna come off looking like the winner because the cheater always comes off as the asshole, right?
Yes. Yes.
So he's gonna look fine.
I mean, he looks fine, but the fact that it was happening for years is like it. This story to me just showed that anybody is at risk of getting cheated.
That is correct.
But I kind of love that Brady's like, I just care about football. I don't give a fuck what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, maybe she cheated on him because he cared too much about football and he wasn't.
Probably. Sure, of course. It's these things are always not just a simple issue.
She doesn't seem like the greatest chick though. Trust me. Like, I don't know. And it's probably like where.
No, she was like the first wife we heard trashing teams and trashing people.
Yeah, she was
as far as I can remember. Yeah,
she was the first annoying wag for sure when she went after Wes Welker. I'm excited for when Julian Edelman comes in the picture because he had a big rivalry with Welker. Like they hated each other.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That's going to be interesting. And the Aaron Hernandez stuff because there is a really funny story how the first day Welker fucked with Aaron Hernandez was carry my shit, rookie. And it was like, fuck you, motherfucker. And he's like, all right, this guy's crazy. I'm not fucking with him.
Always just start out crazy. That's how you protect yourself. The Hernandez way.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. We'll keep us posted on that. We'll talk more about that as the
not worth doing a whole episode.
No, but we'll check in, and you let us know if it's worth watching, if it's, interesting, especially some of the the Hernandez episode sounds good.
I mean, it's very hard to do a documentary nowadays because to get these guys to participate, they realize we can't trash them or make them look bad.
Yeah.
And that's the difficult part of doing a sports documentary if you want to get the subjects,
Yeah. So let's just segue into the documentary we're supposed to be watching this week about American Gladiators. And then I got on the phone with Maddie today and
realized the wrong one.
We were watching two different documentaries. Jim, did you watch any of these?
I watched I don't know if I watched the right one or not.
Which one did you watch?
I watched, it was about an hour and a half on ESPN Plus about.
Fuck! I watched the wrong one.
Which one did you watch?
I watched the Netflix one. It was 5-part series. It wasn't super long. Some of the episodes were short.
I was telling Luke that the ones on ESPN was really based on this asshole guy that stole the idea from Pennsylvania and brought it to Hollywood.
The Ferrero guy, is that his name?
The guy who started it all, Maddie, John Ferrero.
Well, no, there was the guy that really started it, and then the guy that stole it from the guy that started it and brought it to Hollywood.
All right. So I'll go through my documentary and you tell me how much it varies. But basically, they were interviewing and for people that don't know, American Gladiators was this pretty cool thing where it was sort of like the old Roman gladiator wars, except modern days. And it had really cool games that regular average Joes could go against these hulking men and women and try to defeat them for glory and prizes. And it was really cool because you always had an underdog every team. Some of the gladiators had fantastic looks and personalities.
Ferbo Melendez was my favorite.
What's
Laser,
that?
baby.
Oh, laser.
Turbo Melendez.
Laser.
You know, we have to all say, like, it was the 90s and it was the early 90s. So it was very like American with blue, red, white. It was like a very Harlem Globetrotters
Yes.
uniforms and a lot of spandex. And the guys and the girls wore these like bicycle spandex.
Perfectly of its time.
A
It's
lot
like
of muscles, a lot of steroids.
perfect time capsule
Yes.
show.
It looked like Venice Beach come to life,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yes, it did.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically it just went through, you know, of course it was a new thing. It was really interesting. I saw the development of it where it looked like just total garbage in its first incarnation, and then
Yeah,
when
it
they
kept
got it up and
building.
yeah, and then they kept bringing in better producers and more creative people, and then they got it to have a really good look. They got the sets down perfectly. It was really cool. So some of the activities were like the jousting. You'd be jousting on a pedestals that were like 10 feet in the air. You would wrestle. You would try to
tug rope, tug of war.
Tug rope. They had sick maze, the rock climbing.
They also had
Yeah.
the thing where you had a ball and you had to put in these baskets, and
Yeah.
you had the guys would wrestle you. And it
Yeah, and
was
then the
basically you
football one.
versus. There was two people that would compete against each other, but they weren't competing against each other. They were competing against gladiators. So the gladiators were competing against the contestants, and then whoever did better between the two contestants won, but they never competed against each other.
Right, which I think they should have done at some point, I guess, looking back on it. So yes, this was all about a lot of steroid use. These gladiators were, a lot of them were former athletes. Some had played across the picket line and played scab football. I think
Yep.
Nitro and Laser both played for the Rams at some point. Other ones, I think Laser was was it Blaze?
They kind of stole that in dodgeball when the scene was like laser, laser. Those guys were very influenced by the gladiators.
Oh, I could see it. So in the Gladiators, like early on, took on these personas like wrestlers. They had a guy named Malibu early on who was like, "Hey,
dude!"
And I mean, this guy looked like a lion. He had a huge mane of blonde hair, tan skin, and his persona was like a Malibu surfer guy.
Speaking of Malibu, in the one that me and Maddie watched, he's like the one they open with.
And he lives in like
he lives with a roommate in what looks like Phoenix Air. I don't know where it was exactly. It's an all right house for like
it's basically saying these guys hit hard times.
Some of them did, others did, but
that's what was funny. Go ahead, Jim.
He just lived like a room. He lived like a guy in his early 20s, just crashing in.
So the one I watched, like Malibu, is the one guy I always remembered because he just had this huge persona, and I didn't realize he'd only been on the first season, and then he dealt with concussions, and that was it. So, and the one I watched, they only showed a brief clip interview with him that looked like it was recorded on a camcorder. And he's just like, "Oh man, that was all bullshit. It wasn't my personality, blah, blah, blah." And, so it was weird. The one I watched mostly it was all the original sort of six. You had Nitro, you had Laser, you had Lace and
Gemini.
Gemini. Yeah, all the
former Patriot, by the way.
Too.
Yeah, the ladies,
Electra.
all the ladies. Yeah, I can't remember all their. I don't think Electra was original.
But I remember
I don't know if she was original
one. There was a lot of complaining too.
Sunny.
They were getting hurt a lot, and it was just like it was a lot like Vince McMahon's WWF.
Right.
There's no day. There's no weeks off. Like you're a gladiator. You suck it up. You're making a lot of money. Tough shit. This is what you signed up for. There's not a lot of compassion for being hurt.
Yeah, so they could record a whole season in like 2 weeks, but then they took the show on the road, like concerts, and did like 150 dates, like back to back. So these people had no rest. They had to bring in other ones. What were some other interesting things from your documentary?
Just about how the guy was this guy that came to Hollywood to get in the movies, and then the Gladiators was a thing in Pennsylvania in a small town that they would do. And he kind of took the idea from a guy and brought it to Hollywood, and then
so this was they didn't touch that in mine.
So they kind of stole this whole idea.
It's
totally different.
This
it's more It's more about the guy that stole it.
Yeah,
Interesting.
The John Ferraro guy is a
Yeah.
huge character, and he's like a grade A scumbag.
Yeah, he's the scumbag.
Damn, now I want to watch that one.
He's the Vince McMahon of American Gladiators.
Yeah. And he essentially stole it from these people in Pennsylvania, these like nice people, and then turned it into his own thing.
Yeah.
And he looks like a grade A asshole and just the villain.
He definitely looks like your typical, like, even in the one, I forget when they recorded it, the one that we watched, Maddie, but he looked like a sleazeball from the 90s.
Well, he was rude as hell.
He looked like a sleazeball from the 90s in modern day. It's like they got him out of a time capsule.
You know how they start out the documentary? They record him like where it's not supposed to be on a documentary. And he says to the guys, like, you know what a great way to start this thing out would be, like, show like me in Hollywood, like with, you know, this and that. And he's like fantasizing how he's like this amazing hero, and they fuck with him because they keep that. And
nice.
That's the first thing they do. And then it goes into like how he kind of stole this and just was a scumbag. And, you know, he's not very liked in his hometown of Pennsylvania.
He's not very liked in general.
No. That's weird that the other one didn't touch on him at all. Maybe they couldn't get access to him.
Yeah, so he this was all he did too. So this was it. I mean, granted, it's great if you have one major hit show, everyone would die for it, but to pretend like you run the town and act like you're such a hotshot, even though the last thing you did was like 35 years ago.
Well, I do have something to update on that. So doing research for this, they do have Gladiators on BBC now in Britain. They're doing like a new thing, just started this year.
Okay, yeah. That's interesting. So it has been, they brought it back once or twice. They brought it back, I think, in 2008, and it flamed out after like one season. Then, and they keep every year, it seems like someone new is trying to bring it back. Even everybody from Seth Rogen, who produced the documentary I watched, to I think The Rock was involved at some point, was one of them.
I just think it's a product of its time. It's so hard to make something like this in the modern day.
Well, it's like I that's my theory with movies too. Like anytime they reboot these movies, I'm like, this was made for a specific time and a specific kind of audience. So just redoing something that was popular is not always the right choice because it's a different time.
Agree. It just doesn't work.
I feel like with there's a couple problems with bringing this kind of show back is everybody knows these people are juiced now, right? So it kind of kills that illusion. You have the UFC now. So you have people just squaring up and fighting, and it's like, that's good. So,
and you have American Ninja Warrior too.
Right. You have American Ninja Warrior with
huge,
insanely cool obstacle courses and whatnot. And, you know, this was made during the muscle era, like where everybody had to take steroids to be in wrestling or to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger in movies. And, you know, after that whole period, then all the action movies went down to like smaller people who were faster and smarter, you know, like
Jason Statham.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I love watching Reacher. I will watch that to
no end. Who's the guy Taken? I mean, he doesn't look like
Liam Neeson.
He's an old guy.
I know. I mean, he's like the brain. It's like,
right.
Like, you know, when he tells people like, I will kill you. And that's where you.
Yeah. And even that will change into something else at some point. There'll be some new other kind of action people like, you know, so it's just, I don't ever really see it coming back and being popular, at least the kind of way. You'd have to really play with it a lot. I'm not sure what the answer would be like.
It's never going to work again.
No.
Much like spring football. Sorry,
shut the fuck up, Maddie.
I knew that would get you.
Ooh. Create our own drama. Anyways, the documentary I watched was very cut and dried. It was basically, they were interviewing. It's funny because Maddie on the phone today said, yeah, a lot of those guys ended up on hard times. And I'm like, the one I watched, it's like, yeah, they didn't go on to become famous, but a lot of them have great lives after this.
Everyone we watched was on hard times.
Not everyone, Maddie.
There was one guy that was in a wheelchair that lived in like a single room, and it was just
what
very
was
sad.
that?
I can't remember which one it was, but
so that's funny. They're just like, let's just find the hard luck guys. We'll sign them, and the other ones are like, okay, we'll just take the original stars.
it is wild that like even like the Fire Fest, there's a Hulu doc, and then there's the Netflix doc.
Right.
And I watched them like because I liked the net. It just like I was like, holy fuck, this is wild. So I had to watch the Hulu one right away, and they were totally different. There was
the Netflix one was produced by the guys that were
part of it.
Yeah, they were part of. They were the fuck Jerry crowd, the crowd that ripped off everybody's jokes, memes, and then there became a big influencer site. They were the ones that were paid to influence.
Well, they were smart to do that because their ass was on the line too, because they were a part of it.
Oh, they're the scummiest of scums, you know.
But there was a difference.
Yeah, like, absolutely. The Hulu one was great.
Yeah. Hulu got into like the real psychology of being a scumbag.
And they exposed that fuck Jerry people too. Like they're like these are the people behind it. This is how they got famous. This is like, you know.
And they knew what they were doing, and they knew they were a part of it. And then when it fell apart, they acted like, oh, we didn't know shit.
I mean, there is,
it is interesting how two major companies can take a same subject and it's totally different.
No, it's interesting. I mean, it just shows you, I mean, it's a reflection of just news in general. You watch one channel, Fox, you're going to get a whole different story on the same subject you'd see on CNBC. You know, it's just.
Or CNN.
Yeah, whatever.
MSNBC.
Yeah. I mean, it's nuts. But mine was very cut and dried. It was like, we were nobodies. We were somebodies. We took steroids. And then we got screwed over with contracts.
Well, that was the main thing was the guy was the scumbag that they really pushed on ESPN.
They really hammered how scummy this dude was.
I am definitely going to follow up and watch that one.
Because he's the star of that one. Even though he's on it and he's in it the most, he's still like the villain.
You need, like, after what, like Dark Side of the Ring, I have just a new appreciation, especially after watching a lot of, you know, several documentaries and, you know, since I've seen Dark Side. It's like, it's really good. You almost need a villain in the documentaries. You need a funny ass person too, like a Jim Cornette, who's, I don't even know if he's trying to be funny. He's just an idiot.
Or
he's just a character.
Yeah, he's just you need characters, right?
Like someday they'll do a movie about, why does the name escape me? The UWF guy, Herb Abrams.
Oh,
like I want to play him, first of all.
We'll produce it.
They will make a movie about him and it will be perfect.
Or he has to die first. He's still alive.
No, he's dead.
Nope. Mick Foley saw him.
Yeah. With the cowboy boots.
Yeah, the boots. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I love that. I really like that story too, because it's just a fan, a guy that loves it and wants to be a part of it and pays his way into it from his fat woman clothing business. You know, like but yeah, so I don't know
So you're telling me in this documentary they didn't get into like how in Pennsylvania they were doing these amateur American Gladiator competitions in this one town. And that's how they got the idea.
No, not at all.
Because that was the main thing in this one. The main thing was
so they didn't have John Ferraro in this one.
Yeah,
so they must have all signed different contracts. They all must have went after these people at the same time.
Because what John Ferraro did was he moved to Hollywood to be in movies, and obviously he couldn't really cut it.
Sure.
And he stole this idea. He pitched this idea of a movie.
Right.
Like American Gladiators based on the games that were there, and then they kind of turned it into a show.
Yeah.
And then it just exploded.
Yep. No, I didn't see that part. Mine was pretty bland. I will say that. You did it was interesting to hear from these people because you had the main characters all talking and doing interviews, but you didn't have like a lot of the downtrodden ones. And there was one, I think, the track athlete, she suffered from alcoholism, but everybody else seemed to go on to do nice lives.
That's wild because this one was so much depressing.
It was pretty depressing.
A little
for
fun
one of these
fact,
guys.
Maddie. Lace, the original Lace, is married to one Michael Pere, who you might know as
Michael Pere.
On the Dark Side.
The original Eddie Cruiser?
Eddie Wilson, baby.
The original or the second one?
Well, they were both the same guy.
Oh, he played in both movies?
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if he was barely in the first one, ironically, because it was just more about after his death and
On the Dark Side.
Whoa! But yeah,
Such a great Bruce Springsteen, like write a song that's like Bruce, but not Bruce.
Better than Bruce. It's better than anything Bruce ever did.
On the Dark Side. See, like you can't bring that movie back because there's too many cameras.
Well, also it's about rock, and no one gives a shit
You'd have
about
100
rock.
cameras on a bridge.
So you couldn't do that because of closed circuit TV? Like,
well, I mean, you would know because, like, the movie, they find his car in the water and they last see his car on a bridge. So you would have all these cameras nowadays, so you could see what really happened.
Yeah, they'll find a way to do it. No, I'm just kidding.
On the Dark Side.
And me, I'm Eddie Wilson.
Eddie lives.
That was the coolest part. Is there was a Eddie Wilson impersonating contest that he enters in the second movie.
Yep. And the guitarist was the guy in The Accused that finally testifies that they raped a girl on the pinball machine.
Oh yeah.
I have a good memory. And he was in Loverboy. Another great Patrick Dempsey.
Not the band Loverboy. He should have been.
No, the movie Loverboy.
Chops.
When Patrick Dempsey's a pizza delivery guy that's having sex with all the housewives that are unhappy.
Yeah.
My
favorite though in the second movie is when he, like, that guy is like shredding, right? He's doing his best Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, he goes, why don't you just step on it?
And he's like, no. This is how you do it. And he plays some slow, boring lick.
He plays like a fucking Eddie, the guy from what's it called? Maggot Brain kind of feel. Like, because the guy goes, he's like, why don't you play like this? It's just like,
yeah,
like, it's just subtle.
Right. No, I get it, but like for a movie, I don't think it plays as well. But I don't know. I just
and then the one guy who figures it out is the black saxophonist. He's like, I know you're Eddie Wilson. He's like, how did you know? He's like, the second you walked in, I could just tell.
Or like, it's like, you can change the way a guy looks, but not the way he plays.
And then when he wants to quit, he's like, you've already quit before. You quit again, you're going to be known as a quitter. Jim has no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
You got to get into these movies, man.
I got to.
Like, the second one's kind of bad, but in the best way possible. Like,
but it's bad because the first one, remembering how important the movie was, it was such a mystery that people would discuss at bars. Like, is he alive? Is he dead? Did he die? Did he commit suicide? Was he murdered? What happened to him? And it's like this beautiful thing that you'll never know. And then to make a dumb sequel where he's alive and he comes back in a shitty band.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
His girlfriend is hot, and I remember how hot his girlfriend was.
Well, yeah.
Then there's a scene where he's like playing and she's dancing with some other guy. And he's like, get in the fucking van, bitch. That wouldn't fly today.
That might fly.
You're still a hero if you say those things in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's
he's like,
beautiful.
get in the van. She's like, what did I do? I'm just having fun. Get in the van, woman.
All right. Well, I got good news. I think Dark Side of the Ring's back next week.
Next Tuesday.
Nice.
Next Tuesday.
Earthquake.
So we will try to maybe record this thing later in the week so we've had a chance to watch that and have some fun shit.
I don't know much about Earthquake, but I do know he killed Damien, the Jake Snake, and one of the gimmick things.
Oh, for real?
Not for real, but it was one of the things where he sat on Damien and the Jake's like, oh my God, he killed the snake.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, that guy, it's funny because he just looked like a dude from your hometown, like a really fat guy. He was like totally bald except for on the sides. He just didn't have a good
could make
look.
a lot of money in wrestling if you were a big fat guy and
Yeah.
you were mean looking. You could wrestle Hulk Hogan for like 3 months and make a shitload of money and just lose. Like the best you were gonna get though was you were good enough to wrestle the champion and lose. But that's still pretty prestigious.
No, it is. It's like Cam Newton.
Yes, it is.
It's like a Super Bowl. Is Cam Newton better than Vinny Testaverde?
Even.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think Vinny had a very good ending of his career. Like his second half was amazing.
I think he's still like top 5 passing yards because of his longevity. He just kept playing.
Yeah, he played a long ass time.
Yeah, it was amazing. All right, you guys got anything else?
Just love you guys.
I did see the thing about ESPN was now ESPN's own Seth Greenberg's trying to put an end to court storming in college basketball.
Oh, that's right.
Well,
the court storming thing.
I'm all for it. It's like Caitlin Clark almost got hurt. The guy.
Oh, Matty, you're anti-court storming? I didn't know you were the
that's all college basketball
is. Yeah, I'm anti-fun.
Anti-sports Goldberg here.
Yeah. Wow. None of the fun stuff.
Pooper. I just want to protect the
Debbie
good
Downer.
players from getting hurt by a bunch of asshole kids. Sorry.
Well, how did this injury actually happen, though?
So the Duke player, what was it, Aiden Pritchardson or whatever the fuck this Duke guy's name is. So Wake Forest beats Duke.
Mm-hmm.
All the kids, of course, storm the court. They do it a little early. To be fair, they do it a little early.
Okay.
And he tries to trip somebody and says that he fucked up his ankle.
Oh, the player
tried to trip somebody.
Then fuck him.
Yeah, but I didn't see that. But you're gonna tell me Caitlin Clark tried to trip somebody?
She definitely flopped.
She just ran into someone.
She flopped. She
Oh,
flopped.
whatever.
But also, like, I'm pro court storming. I'm also pro, like, if athletes want to, they can beat the shit out of someone storming the court. I'm fine with that.
So you're okay with the trip, even if the guy wasn't trying to attack him?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. You take a risk storming the court.
Yeah.
The athletes can fight back. So what Seth Greenberg said is he wants a 1-minute grace period at the end of the game. The home team goes into the student section, and then the schools would get a $1 million fine for court storming.
You know what you do though?
Okay,
if I'm the coach,
it's all stupid. Storm the court. Just storm it.
If I'm the coach of the team that's going to lose, I'm pulling my team off 30 seconds before the game ends.
You're a
really?
Bitch.
Yeah, I'm a bitch.
I mean, how many other major injuries have happened from these court?
Zero major injuries have happened from court storming.
We've had 2 this year. It's bad.
This guy was self-inflicted, though.
Also, it's not a major injury. I think he's fucking lying too.
Dude, the girl ran into Caitlin Clark really hard, man.
What is her major injury, Maddie?
Scissoring. It was a scissor injury.
Wait, I didn't slow it down enough. Was there a scissor in there?
There might have been.
Yeah, she snuck a scissor in.
Yeah, don't call this episode scissoring. Caitlin Clark.
I'm.
The only other thing I looked up is
that'll be the Rumble headline for it.
That's a good one. The only other thing I looked up was Bill Connolly does his, like, at the end of like every year in February, he does his 80 best college quarterbacks or position groups or whatever of the century. I wanted Luke to guess the highest rated Michigan quarterback from 2000 to now. He's rated 54.
Oh, as far as like coming out of the draft?
No. This is college quarterbacks. The highest rated Michigan quarterback from 2000 till now.
Oh, Chad Henne.
It is Denard Robinson.
Oh, no shit.
I was going to guess Denard Robinson.
I mean, Denard was great, but he just couldn't. He was limited.
His stats were crazy, though. His stats were crazy.
His stats were the problem was his stats were crazy against
the defense was
inferior.
So bad.
Well, no, he's okay. Denard, the problem with him was that he was a limited passer. So
yes,
like
they would just stack the box really.
Plus, they were down by 20 points, so the second half he would get a lot of numbers.
Almost 5,000 rushing yards and almost 50 touchdowns.
Okay, so like one year, I remember like the first 5 games we were undefeated, and he was running everywhere,
crazy.
But then we started getting to a tougher part of the schedule, and we started really falling apart. Like Michigan State just held him in check. You know, like a lot of his were just padded against bad teams. And don't get me wrong, he did have, you know, good games against other teams too. But like there was just so much, you know, like if you rush for 250 yards against a Purdue team, you know, it doesn't mean much when you're playing like a good Wisconsin or a good Michigan State team. Yeah, like
I think the other thing helping Denard is like when he came in and when he was like in the scene, there was a rush of he was everywhere on the like ESPN and
well,
everything.
he was just so exciting to watch.
He was so exciting to watch.
I mean, you couldn't get enough of this guy. I couldn't get enough until you started losing games, and then you're like, oh shit. Okay.
There is one his fault. The defense was horrible.
There is one Nebraska quarterback ahead of him too.
They were some of the worst.
Tommy Frazier?
No, it's Eric Crouch.
Oh, Eric Crouch.
This is from 2000 forward.
When was Tommy Frazier? Like mid 90s?
90s. Yeah. Can you guys guess the top 5?
Luck.
At number 5, it is Joe Burrow.
Wow.
Well, he had that awesome season.
But also, you got to think like
Luck. Cam Newton.
At number 4 is Tim Tebow.
RG3.
RG3 was, I believe, number 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me the other 2. I gotta run it for it.
So Tim Tebow was 4. Vince Young was 3. Cam Newton 2, and Baker Mayfield 1.
Wow. What about Matt Leinart? Where was he?
Ooh.
And Johnny Football. Man,
17.
What about Johnny Football?
13. Right behind Colt McCoy.
Not bad.
Right ahead of Kellen Moore.
Wow. This is a weird list.
I think a lot of this also has to do with like the story and not just their stats.
I get it.
Like the Baker Mayfield thing of like going from walk on to number 1 pick is pretty sick.
No, that's a fantastic story. But I mean, Manziel was far more captivating than fucking Colt McCoy, though. I mean,
he was also more captivating, I think, than like Marcus Mariota.
Of course.
But
all right, guys.
It's a fun list.
So we'll be back next week, hopefully, with a Dark Side of the Ring and
Dark Side!
And more great Jim Cornette. Okay, so you guys take care. We'll see you next week for another exciting edition of the Sports Hole. Bye bye.
Later, boys.